Hello, everybody, and welcome to the PHLY Eagles Kickoff Show presented by our friends at Miller Lite. Get Miller Lite delivered right to your door. Visit MillerLite.com/PHLYBirds, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces. Fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer. We are here about a half an hour away from the Week 4 kickoff between the Eagles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, two teams that are struggling with injuries, beset by injuries. And for the Eagles, there will be no A.J. Brown. There will be no DeVonta Smith. And the news that came down this morning, there will also be no Lane Johnson, with Fred Johnson presumably set to start at right tackle. I'm joined by Jamie Lynch and Fran Duffy. Fran, I want to start with you. So much of the big picture conversation about Jalen Hurts, as always, how do you disentangle him versus the surroundings that he has? He's got as good of a supporting cast as any quarterback in the NFL. Today, without probably his three best players on offense, maybe you want to talk about Saquon Barkley in there as well.
Yep.
A chance for him to prove that he is more than just his surroundings.
Yeah, the problem is it goes back towards the other end of the extreme now, because obviously the cast of characters at wide receiver, less than ideal for Jalen Hurts
Barkley,
in this game.
All of a sudden feeling very much at home in an offense with no other good players.
Yes, the good thing he has going for him is that offensive line will be much better. The quarterback certainly much better than what Saquon has dealt with over the course of his career. But with him being the focal point of this offense now, I mean, it's going to be priority number one, I would think, for Todd Bowles. You have to stop Saquon Barkley in this Eagles run game. Don't let them get into advantageous down and distance situations. Try and take him off the board and force Jalen Hurts into the drop back pass, and then you stick the dogs on him like what he's done over the course of his career.
We're going to hear from Zach Berman in a little bit from Raymond James Stadium. But Jamie, in terms of the passing game for the Eagles today, you're talking about the top options being Dallas Goedert. Oof. And then the wide receivers active for this game, Jahan Dotson, who the Eagles traded a third-round pick for, but has been completely absent in the offense so far, production-wise. Did a nice job springing Dallas Goedert on the rub route last week. Johnny Wilson, the sixth-round pick. And then practice squad elevations, Paris Campbell and John Ross. You've also got Grant Calcaterra. Maybe the running backs become a factor in the passing game today, but what are your expectations for Jalen Hurts' performance?
Well, I was thinking about it on the way in. I mean, I don't think there's a worse wide receiver core going in the NFL this weekend. I mean, when you elevate two guys from a practice squad, that's your bottom of the barrel. We always talked about the nightmare situation. What do the Eagles do with lack of depth? If Smith and Brown go down, well, you're going to find out in a really tough test because Todd Bowles, Fran mentioned it. He's going to throw the blitz at him, and Jalen Hurts is handling the blitz a lot better this year than he was last year, but Bowles gets blitz happy versus him, and then obviously Saquon, so he's probably going to stack the box. The thing, I think the key to the game is you can't let them remove Dallas Goedert from this game. You cannot let the Bucs take him out of the game plan because I think you need him that bad.
And it's interesting because you mentioned this over the course of the week, Fran. When DeVonta Smith went down last week, the Saints started double covering Dallas Goedert, and still the Eagles were able to free him up.
Yeah, they did a good job of calling plays that allowed Dallas to defeat those double teams. And that's basically those shallow crossing routes. And if you're going to double him with two safeties, and one of those safeties being 8 to 10 yards off the ball, that shallow cross, by the time that gets going, that other safety is taken out of the play, essentially, especially if you've got other crossing routes coming the other way. So will they dial that play up again? Potentially.
Difference being that was a man-heavy defense versus a zone-heavy defense today.
And worth noting, Antoine Winfield is out also. Yep. He's one of their best players defensively. So, that's an advantage for the Eagles.
Yeah. Flip side to that is the Bucs' run defense has been bad this year. However, they have been without Vita Vea. Vita Vea is back for this game and is one of the guys in the NFL who is sort of like a one-man run defense by himself. Now, he is back in the game. He is active,
snap count.
Yeah, was limited over the course of a week of practice. And so, is he 80% Vita Vea? Is he 75%? Is he less than that? That will certainly have an impact on this game. I'm interested to see what he looks like early, if the Eagles are willing to test him, or are we going to see a lot of perimeter stuff for Saquon Barkley? That could be something we see in this game as well.
What's your expectation for what the game plan is going to be like in this game? We know that Todd Bowles, as you talked about, Jamie, has probably had Jalen Hurts' number more than any other defensive coordinator.
I think it's 27 and 30 blitzes the last two times he's faced Hurts, so he brings it.
And those big blitzes in the playoff game really waylaid the Eagles' offense. They ran them 9 times, according to True Media. 8 of them were successful for the defense. The Eagles have not seen a ton of them this year. I don't know how much they're going to be just doing, sitting back to drop back and pass in this game, but how do you expect the Eagles to attack this Bucs defense?
I think just trying to find ways to be able to attack the void in coverage, because yes, they will throw 0 blitzes at you, and that means that it's all-out blitz, no safety help in the middle of the field, and it's straight man-to-man coverage across the width of the field. But they also do a lot of zone pressures as well, so they'll drop 2 or 3 guys out into the underneath area of the field, and they're still sending 5-6 bodies at Jalen Hurts. And if that's the case, what they're trying to do by game plan, Todd Bowles, is they're trying to drop those guys, not just, hey, get to between the hash marks. This is where typically the hot routes tend to be that we've seen on film. And so I think that would be the minor tweak, Bo. You asked me earlier this week, what would be, if you were Kellen Moore, how would you try and respond to this Todd Bowles defense? You probably do need to tweak where those hot routes typically have come, and they typically have been in the slot. That's where we've seen Britton Covey get some of those catches. We've seen Dallas Goedert, when he's lined up in the slot, get some of those hot route snaps. I do wonder if maybe some of those hot routes now happen over the ball in the flats to Saquon Barkley potentially. So whether it's Goddard, whether it's Jack Stoll, whether it's Saquon Barkley or Kenny Gainwell, Will Shipley, whoever that is, I would imagine that they'll try and change up where those hot routes do come against the blitz.
You do also wonder, with the bye coming up, maybe this is a chance for the Eagles to lean a little bit more into the Jalen part of the running game, the downhill part. Let's get rid of those read options, but maybe some of those quarterback draws, I think, could be a factor in this game.
Yeah, especially if you do factor in if it's going to be like a counter read where, hey, Jalen has the ability to go downhill or hand the ball off, and that's where you have Saquon going to the perimeter. And that's kind of what I was referring to earlier with some of the perimeter run plays. That's an area we saw them run those kinds of plays in training camp where you saw Saquon getting to the perimeter or Jalen have the ability to come inside. This would be a game where you could see those kind of busted out.
Yeah, hopefully they drank their Gatorade, Bo, because it's
it's hot about this.
Yeah.
Zach was at his brother's bachelor party yesterday.
Yes.
So, I mean, if anybody's fighting it in the heat today, it might be Zach.
Hopefully he popped one of those Z-Biotics.
Yeah. I took some Z-Biotics Thursday and Friday, actually.
There you go. Happy anniversary.
But yeah, I think the heat index is 103 degrees. The humidity is like 91%. So, like, while a ground and pound, whether it be Hurts or Barkley game is – you're going to have to keep an eye on how your boys are holding up today.
Other side of the line of scrimmage here, Bucs without Luke Gedeke, their right tackle, which is huge because their offensive line has not been good.
Bryce-Huff day.
Could be, if there ever is going to be a day. Now, like, I think he supposedly deleted his Eagles references on his Instagram today, but he's active for this game. He's going to play. How much? Who knows? But on that side of the ball, Fran, feels like an opportunity where the defensive line has to once again dominate as they did last week.
That's something we saw from this defense a year ago when these two teams played on was it Thursday Night Football or Monday Night Football last year in week 3? It was a night game. Regardless, this defensive line, you want to see them take over in this football game. Do what you did last week against the New Orleans Saints. If they can come out and really set the tone, even if it is sloppy on the other side of the football, that allows you the freedom and the leash to be a little bit more conservative on the offensive side of the football if you think your defensive line can come out and dominate. But Luke Gedeke being out at right tackle, it looked like he was kind of like Lane Johnson, honestly, where he was trending towards playing here in this game. So the announcement yesterday that he would be out, that was big for this Eagles defense.
And then in the secondary, Jamie, I think an interesting chess match today because we know that the Bucs like to play Chris Godwin in the slot. Avonte Maddox has been the Eagles' slot so far. Do we see a little bit more Cooper DeJean in this game? Do we see Quinyon Mitchell maybe moving inside because the Eagles think that's the best matchup? Quinyon Mitchell, I mean, making a very impressive early impression.
Yeah, he is. And Mike Evans might go down as perhaps like the most underrated wide receiver the NFL's seen in the last 25 years. The guy's just consistent as hell. So does Quinyon get a little bit of him today? How does he fare in that matchup? I had hopefully a premonition driving in today. I felt a Quinyon Mitchell interception in the air. I don't know if it was the fall air, just a little sense driving in. Yeah. So I think Quinyon, I'll say it, gets a pick today.
Ooh, I like that.
He's due. I mean, it's been the last 2 weeks where he was good. He jumped a route from off coverage, one of those quick game routes. The Bucs, the aggressive downfield throwing team so far this year. So it's going to be a lot of quick game routes where the ball gets out of Baker Mayfield's hand, especially if they expect that defensive line for the Eagles to be able to get after him. He was under duress the last 2 weeks, so the ball's going to come out fast. Quinyon Mitchell, this might be the week for him.
All right. Well, I think we may have our friend Zach Berman live at Raymond James Stadium. Zach, you're looking good. How you feeling? How hot is it down there?
Yeah, it's scorching outside, or I should say humid outside more than anything else. Feels nice in the press box. Fortunate to be in here, but no rain. Sunny day outside. A lot of Eagles fans all over this area. You'll see green in the stands today. Should be an interesting game.
How you feeling, Zach? How banged up did you get last night?
I feel great. I can't speak for my siblings, but I retired early. I'm here on a work trip. I made sure that I had a good meal, good conversation, and then I was in position to be at the stadium early, watch these pregame warmups, get on the show with you guys.
All right, let's talk the injuries and the ramifications of those injuries for the Eagles. No Lane Johnson. We presume Fred Johnson is going to get the start at right tackle. How is everything looking on offense with these bit parts?
Yes, you're correct there. Watching pregame warmups, Fred Johnson, right tackle with the Eagles. There's no funny business going on there. The three wide receivers during pregame warmups with the first team offense, it was Jahan Dotson and Johnny Wilson on the outside, Paris Campbell in the slot. Now, the only other receiver that they have active today is John Ross, number 38. So you'll see, I don't know how many different combinations you'll see, but it's certainly not a lot of depth at wide receiver for this game. You mentioned the injuries. I imagine you spoke about it already, but the Lane Johnson news, that took me by surprise. I did not anticipate Lane Johnson being out for this game. I obviously knew there was a chance. He had not cleared the concussion protocol. Everything I heard is that it had been trending in the right direction, but this is a major blow for the Eagles. And you add that to the news that came down yesterday that A.J. Brown declared out for this game. So the Eagles, I said this last week in the post-game show, if we put together a list before the season of the most important Eagles, I would say 3 of the top 5 would have been Lane Johnson, A.J. Brown, DeVonta Smith. So to be coming down here and playing without them, it's a major test for the Eagles. And I don't want to say it's a house money game, but it's a game where you probably feel if they don't come out with the win, it's somewhat understandable.
And yet still 1-point favorites to win this game in Vegas. How about on the other side of the ball, Zach? Are you expecting Avonte Maddox to stay in the slot based on pregame warmups?
Yes, correct. And I was particularly paying attention to how they looked in their, quote unquote, base defense. I wanted to see if Bryce Huff was still working with the first teamers, and that is the case. So it was Bryce Huff out there. Now, it could be one thing for pregame warmups. I think 2 of the past 3 weeks have shown us when we look at the playing time distribution at the end of the game, it might look different. But as you guys have discussed throughout the week, this isn't an inviting matchup for Bryce Huff. So if there's ever a week for Bryce Huff to kind of get off the skid, if you will, it would be this week.
Zach, any talk in the stadium about Vita Vea and a possible snap count today? He's another major factor that the Bucs are getting back.
Nothing regarding snap count. He'll be playing, and that's a major addition, right? I mean, obviously, I loved Fran's breakdown throughout the week, and it was very resourceful for me. And Fran noted how Vita Vea's absence affected them, last week, right? Especially with the run defense. Now you have Vita Vea in here. They don't have Antoine Winfield Jr., so that's a big absence. But as far as snap count or anything of that, I have not heard that specifically. Now it is a hot day. He is a big guy coming off injury, but that Vita Vea Cam Jurgens matchup is going to be one of the more intriguing matchups in this game. I'll have the binoculars fixated on the center of the line.
Sorry, real quick.
No, go ahead.
Well, speaking of that, if you're starting to hydrate on Sunday, you've already lost the hydration battle. How much was that an emphasis this week with the projected weather? Are we getting some kind of pickle juice magic from Nick Sirianni? What's up his sleeve?
Yeah, so they're very privy to the weather. I think they were kind of, for a period of time, worried about overhydration, right? In the sense of what's the rain going to be like for this game. The fact that it's a clear day seems somewhat like a win, and I don't even say that tongue in cheek. We got down here. When I say we, myself and everyone traveling from Philly had a good time because the previous few days were pretty devastating here. Now, as far as hydrating, yeah, I don't know if they'll have pickle juice a la week 1 of the 2000 season, which you can read about in the franchise. I should get that in there.
Nicely done.
But yeah, it is incredibly humid out there. And for those who are unfamiliar with the stadium, and it's actually similar in Miami Stadium, is that when it's a day game, the way the stadium's configured is that the opposing team's sideline is in the sun, the home team's sideline is in the shaded area. So these Florida teams design these stadiums to give the home team an advantage outside of the crowd. That's a major advantage. But yeah, the Eagles know it's going to be hot down here. I mean, they could take out a timeshare down in Tampa. They're down here so often, so I imagine that they'll be prepared for that.
Well, and because of that, the sickos know what to expect from you today. And so the question, Zach, is given the humidity, will that affect the quality of the Bananas Foster?
So interestingly, Jimmy Kemsky, who I defer to on all press box spread questions, he noticed that they have an ice cream machine or a frozen yogurt machine here, soft serve machine, and he inquired if that affects the Bananas Foster at all. The answer is no, it does not. So there will still be the halftime Bananas Foster. Now, I am trying to. I'm making a specific and deliberate effort to be healthier this year. I'm on camera every day. This is a major, 5-6 days a week. I'm not in studio, but I'm on camera. Yeah. Let's be honest here. I mean, I am on camera. I mean, even on Wednesday, I chime in for Jamie and Rich. Yesterday is Saturday. I did the 60-second hit here when the news came down. So I'm trying to deliberately be healthy because I'm on camera. But for the sake of the reporting, I might need to just taste the Bananas Foster to make sure that the quality is up to snuff from what it's been. I mean, I've been coming to the stadium. I was thinking about it. The first time I came to the stadium was back in the mid-2000s for a Syracuse, South Florida college football game. But the first time I had the Bananas Foster here was at the ACC Championship 2008, Virginia Tech versus Boston College. So there's a period of time in which I can evaluate this Bananas Foster, and we'll have a better. I'm not gonna have the whole thing, but just for the sake of journalism, I will taste it at halftime so I can give you an update.
Will you tweet out a picture for the people, Zach?
That seems a little too thirsty, honestly. Right? I mean, that's like a little bit of a look at me thing. Tweeting out the picture of the Bananas Foster. I kind of think that you try to be, you try to be tasteful as a reporter.
Oh, sure. You don't want any naked Bananas Foster.
But for the sake of the show, I will do what I can to chronicle.
Is it Bananas Foster or Foster Bananas?
It is not Foster Bananas, but Foster's a pretty name, actually.
Well, thank you very much, Zach. We appreciate your insight. We will talk to you after the game. Enjoy the game and enjoy the Bananas Foster.
Absolutely. Talk to you guys soon.
And make sure that all you sickos are getting your copy of Zach's.
It's a good plug by him.
Franchise. Philadelphia Eagles, a curated history of the birds, available wherever books are sold. All right, before we get to our Bet365 bets, let's just talk a little bit about Bet365 because Bet365 has 90 million users worldwide, and they live stream 780,000 plus events each year with early payout offers across the NBA, NFL, NHL, and MLB. Bet365 pioneered live in-game betting, and today they offer the widest range of games and markets available for live in-game betting across 78 sports. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Use the code PHLY365 to sign up. Deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $200 in bonus bets. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Hopefully you sickos watched our Bet365 betting show with Jamie this morning for some more tips because Jamie's been just rolling in it. I mean,
doing all right. Alabama helped last night. Thank you, Bet365, for that donation to my account.
And we've got the SGP Sundays with Bet365, where it's never ordinary. Place qualifying parlay bets totaling $20 or more on Sunday's NFL games and get up to $25 in bonus bets. Terms and conditions apply. Download the app and use code PHLY365 when you sign up, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
Yeah, and hopefully when I hit our boosted parlay here at PHLY, Bo, I can go grab a nice cold Miller Lite out of the fridge.
Back, baby.
Yeah. It's the original light beer since 1975, and to this day, it's still the best one. Why? Because they haven't messed around with it. They perfected the taste of a light beer. It's less filling. It tastes like a light beer should taste. It's great on the golf course, at the lake, at the beach, at a barbecue with family, watching football, watching the birds with family and friends. A Miller Lite always hits the spot. It's a light beer that strips away everything you don't need and holds on to what matters most. A light beer that tastes like light beer should taste. The original since 1975. And you don't have to choose what's best. My daughter loves this commercial. It's both. Miller Lite has great taste and is less filling. Tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, just visit MillerLite.com/PHLY birds, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces, fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer.
All right, Jamie, let's get to our Bet365 pregame picks, your two best bets for today.
Yeah, I'll start out with kind of a long shot, but I think if the Eagles are going to win this game, it's going to be on the back of Saquon Barkley again. Get him off his feet during the bye week. Today, you can't worry about workload. You need your horse. I'm going to take a little long shot here. 2+ touchdowns at plus 333. And then I'm going to go Dallas Goedert. It was a little surprised with the lack.
Seems low.
It does seem low, which actually concerns me a little bit because it is Todd Bowles and a smart defense on the other side there. But I'll go his over 54.5 yards.
I like that. I'm also going with a couple plus odds bets. I'm going Johnny Wilson over 2.5 catches.
Nice.
I mean, they might be 3 catches for 10 yards, but I think he's the guy who has been in this offense and will be on the field at some point. So give me a little bit of Johnny Wilson action. And then Saquon Barkley, I'm going with runs for at least 30 yards on a single play at some point. That's plus 375. I think they're going to lean into Saquon Barkley. I don't know if there's going to be the full volume because I expect the Bucs to be well prepared for the Eagles to lean heavily into Saquon Barkley, but he has shown that explosiveness this season where I think that he can pop one play. Give me plus odds.
Yeah, I like that. I would imagine you're going to see a pretty heavy box here from Todd Bowles. And, I'm not worried about Saquon beating it, to your point.
He's showing the breakaway speed.
Yeah, the thing that's interesting with Saquon is that so much of his yardage and so many of his runs so far have come against light boxes, and so this will be a game where you will see more heavy boxes, and we'll see exactly how he's able to respond. And
then on the other side, we've talked all week about it, but a big test for the Eagles' run defense because this is an offense that's going to be primarily in 11 personnel, maybe not all the time, but given what the Eagles have shown, you would imagine they're going to try to lean into that. Now, Rachaad White, Bucky Irving is not necessarily the, make you shake in your boots kind of running back tandem.
But Bucky Irving should be playing more than Rachaad White at this point. It's like 5.5 yards a carry to like 2.8 yards a carry.
Yeah,
different type of players.
Right? Yes. And a lot of his runs, I was going through and I'm like, all right, let me just watch all of their long runs so far. Basically, most of Bucky Irving's runs have been like fluky, weird, gadgety plays, not like, all right, we're going to turn around and hand the ball off on a typical run play. So that's why his numbers, I feel like, have looked a little bit more inflated. We'll see. I mean, both guys were limited and questionable over the course of the week. Rachaad White was listed with an illness late in the week. He's cleared to play. So we'll see both guys, but I do think we'll probably see a little bit more White at the end of the day.
If this game does not go the Eagles' way, what has you concerned?
I would say it would be the Bucs defense. Just getting the best of Jalen Hurts. That would, to me, would be if the Eagles don't win, that would be the number one reason why.
Todd Bowles owns Jalen Hurts.
Yes.
He has the Eagles number.
That's what we're talking about post game show.
Okay, I think that's fair. How about you, Jamie?
Yeah, I think that's the matchup you're looking at. I mean, I know it. How do you judge him, right? Like he's with 2 practice squad wide receivers today. It's almost unfair, but at the same time, you're a franchise quarterback. You get paid the big bucks. You're going to have to go, beat a tough situation every once in a while. So I think this is a huge game for Hurts to fairly or unfairly get judged here.
And this has also been, they have had all week to prepare for this. This is not like you're losing these guys mid-game. Now, they probably thought that Lane was going to play. But even if that is the case, they put this game plan together. They had a plan here. Like, there's every reason for them to be motivated to prove that they can, beat the Todd Bowles bugaboo. I think this is a very interesting game from a Jalen Hurts perspective.
It's a mental toughness game in my mind because he's going to have to try and toe that line of, all right, do I want to? Because to me, you got to be boring against the Todd Bowles defense, especially in this scenario. He can't put his Superman cape on in this game because you're not making that big play where you're rolling out to your left and you're finding DeVonta Smith for an 80-yard play down the field. That's not happening. So
that's John Ross.
And who knows? Maybe that happens.
They're going to take a shot at deep to him at some point.
At some point, right? But to me, like those plays aren't going to be readily available to you. So it's going to be, hey, it's 3rd and 5. Where's the 6-yard completion at? Where's the 7-yard completion? And so Jalen Hurts has had an issue with turnovers over the last calendar year. To me, like this is one where he's going to have to kind of put that discipline, put that that judicious style of play to the test.
All right, let's check out our super chat that we have here from, I believe, our friend Richard Fitzwell, of course, who says over under half a big boy offensive line touchdown catch today for the Eagles.
Ooh, what are the odds on that?
Yeah, I mean, you got to
you're giving
like
me
1,400 or something.
I was going to say.
If one was to catch one, who do you think it would?
The Fred Johnson narrative, right?
Well, I know, but it's got to be the extra guy. So it's probably Tyler Steen.
Yeah, but we've seen Lane Johnson catch, or the guy one guy comes in, and then we've seen Lane Johnson catch touchdowns in the past. Yeah. And then, so one guy comes in as the 6th line.
I mean, I feel like Mailata
would be the guy I would think.
I think Richard Fitzwell would be happy if we went with Johnson there, just to stay with the whole team.
True. Now, it is interesting from a roster perspective because the Eagles did not, they didn't elevate Jack Driscoll, for instance. So if somebody goes down here, Tyler Steen, presumably the backup at all 4 positions, not center. You've also got Nick Gates and Darian Kennard.
Yeah. So Kennard would be the other guy that at tackle and guard would be your flex there. But I would agree that Tyler Steen's probably the first man off the bench at both spots on both sides of the line. And so Steen, first guy off the bench. Kennard would be the next guy up at either tackle or guard. And then you've got, actually, I'd probably feel better with Gates at guard.
I think so.
Yeah, probably Gates at guard. But, Gates certainly at center would be next man up. Something to watch.
All right, let's run through our final predictions as we approach kickoff time. Jamie, who you got?
The Eagles have played 14 consecutive games within 1 possession.
Wow.
This is going to be another 1-possession game. I do think the Eagles are going to pull it out. I think it's going to be hard fought on the ground and could be ugly at times. I got them winning 2017 over the Bucs.
Nice.
I got 20-13 was my what I wrote down this morning. So Eagles win 20-13. I think the same thing as Jamie. I think it's not going to be pretty for a large chunk of it, but I think the Eagles find a way to win.
Well, I mean, I got a zag in that case.
Now, I did not think they were going to win both of these road games. 2 weeks ago, I thought they were going to go 1-1. So I feel like I feel a little homerism today. Could be affecting me.
You could be a homer.
There's
nothing wrong with that.
But I did think they were going to go 1-1.
Okay.
But I'm back to I'm back to 1-2 on the road.
Well, in that case, I'll go with Todd Bowles from last year. Yeah, I'll say the Bucs win this game 17-13. Low scoring affair. Eagles can't quite get it done without all their.
We all predicted an under.
I'll predict an under. Yeah. So it's going to be like 35-31, and we'll see what happens. All right, that'll do it for the PHLY Eagles kickoff show presented by Miller Lite. Enjoy the game, everybody. We will be back at halftime with a little update. And then, of course, the post-game show with the 3 of us. Super Bowl champion Vinny Curry joining us, and also all the post-game press conferences and Zach Berman live from Raymond James Stadium. Week 4, the last game before the bye for the Eagles without so many players on offense. Let's see what Jalen Hurts and Kellen Moore can do against Todd Bowles, and if Jalen Carter can dominate like he did last week. We will talk to you at halftime. Thanks for watching. And as always, we love you.
We all silly like the mayor.